You hear me okay?
Yep,
How's everything going?
it's going okay. Um, we talked about last week. We ended up putting our dog down last Friday. Then,
Uh,
yeah, it happened. That was the toughest thing. I've my first dog died like in the house. When I was at work. Um, but this one, we brought him to the vet and had him euthanized, and that's just oh God, it's terrible. That's all I can say about that. Emotionally stressful for sure, but I don't know.
how many days did you cry?
Mostly just that day. We had already had like hotels booked, and we were going to this place called Valley Fair the next day, so that provided a pretty big distraction. Valley Fair is, I guess, you mentioned Cedar Point at one time, which I wasn't really
Yeah.
familiar with that, but Cedar Point and Valley Fair are owned by the same company. They're basically the same kind of thing. So we went to that the next day, but I don't know. I still like this morning I got up and went out and just turned around and I expected him to be there and he's not,
Uh,
and it's like sad. But I don't know,
w-
he seemed pretty peaceful when we brought him there and just, you know, not anxious or, upset or anything, and yeah, just went. So
did you keep the ashes?
yeah, we haven't got them back yet, but we paid for the cremation and we'll get a box and his paw print and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Now you got me in my feelings about my dog.
yeah, sorry, man. We talked about it last week. I just thought I'd close the loop on it. So, but yeah, it was a pain. But I mean, there's like he was 13, and that dog breed like 12, 10 to 12 is kind of the lifespan. So, um, I mean, I don't know. It's the only problem is I keep going back. Like, well, maybe he could have gotten better. Maybe he would bounce back, but he hadn't really been eating well for a week and was kind of like throwing up some weird stuff, and he was drooling funny, and it was just like he just looked tired all the time, and I don't know. It just was like even if he had moments of spats of being normal, it was like nah, he's headed downhill anyways, and we didn't want to make him suffer through all that. So,
Mm.
but but yeah, but yeah. So we went to that Valley Fair and kind of was able to kind of you know step away from our house for a while and just kind of like help get over it or whatever, get distracted for a day. So, but yeah. Otherwise, last week's fine. Other than my running's been sucking, even though I'm trying to get ready uh, for this half marathon in a couple weeks. But
Yeah, I think I got to get my heel rebroken so it could get fixed. I mean, it has to be more than a year and a half, and I still can't stand. I can't stand on my heel like if I were to stand on one leg.
hmm
I could do it on my other foot, obviously, because I never injured my other foot. But if I just try to stand on my heel on my right foot, I can't do it, and it's sore every morning when I get up and walk around on a hardwood floor. Well, it's
hmm
not hardwood, but it's I don't know what you call this thing, hard tile floor.
maybe you have like, isn't there like plantar fasciitis or something like that, like foot things? I don't know. It might be worth going in and getting looked at because it's
For 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 over a year and a half. I remember
yeah, I don't know.
when I injured it, I was running on the beach and I stepped on a stone or a
Oh
rock.
wow. Ooh.
Yeah, and I couldn't put pressure on it probably for like a month, and then after like maybe 12 weeks, I started jogging again, but I had to make sure to concentrate on the what do you call it, the balls of my feet.
Yeah,
And it's just
four mid.
it never healed, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, four and mid strikes are supposed to be better anyways, but the because like humans aren't meant to. Shoes make us able to run on the backs of our feet or heel strike or whatever. But like historically, people wouldn't have run that way. Our feet weren't really like didn't evolve to be that way. So, but yeah, I mean, that's something where I would maybe get it checked out because it's like I'm not really like I'm not really up for most doctor things, but if it's like a mechanical thing or a bone thing, or where it's like this could be, then it's like okay, they can see it usually, and they can probably do something about it or know what you can do. Or you can do physical therapy or sports medicine or whatever the heck it is. It's like, but it's just like I don't know.
You ever, I think you would be interested in this topic. You ever think you're awake and you're really asleep?
Yeah, I've had that happen a few times.
Like
Uh,
last night, I was um I was laying in my bed scrolling through my phone, and I don't know, I decided to like look out my blinds, and it was like daylight. I told you this was last night.
hmm
All right, so I'm like, why is it light outside? And then I woke up laying in my bed. Like there is no way for me to differentiate like a dream from reality. It's kind of messing with me now.
Yeah. Have you ever like woke up in like a I don't know if you'd call it sleepwalk, but in like a daze and like I've gotten paranoid sometimes when I've slept. Like I woke up once and I thought my wife was gonna kill me in our bed, so I stood up and I looked at her like for a few seconds and I grabbed the lamp next to me and I broke it in half for no reason. That was weird.
I have a habit of getting startled when I wake up to somebody like in my room.
hmm
So because I'm used to being alone and I'm not used to having company, especially overnight, there's times where like I'll just wake up and I'll just see a silhouette of somebody, and
It's on.
automatically my instinct is I I act like I have a gun and I'm pointing it at them every single time. I've done it when I was a teenager. I've done it to my mother a couple times. I've done it to almost all of my ex-girlfriends. I'm not used to like people being in my room in the middle of the night. I'm not, and which sucks because when the state or the feds finally decide to like raid my crib, that's gonna be I'm not a gun owner, but that's gonna be my first reaction, and they're gonna put me to sleep. So yeah, are
Well,
you gonna
hopefully that
protest
never
for me?
happens.
Like Scott was unarmed, yeah, but he acted like he had a gun when we charged his room or stormed his room.
Yeah.
At what point do you say, okay, that's involuntary? That's a medical condition. I don't even think that's a medical condition. I think that's just instinct. That's fight or flight.
Yeah.
For some reason, a cat stands on its tippy toes and arches its back.
Yeah,
Like,
or a dog barks at people. Yeah, they get shot all the time when they do those house raids or whatever. That'd be
that makes me feel better.
terrible. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'll come down and say his name and do all that. Bismonger Square. We'll try to find a place to make it. Scott
Mm,
Nimrod Square.
no, just find a find a young tree and drill a plaque onto it. I think they should have trees instead of what do you call it? The what do you call it? The little stone at cemetery? Not little
Oh, like
tombstone.
a
I
tombstone.
think they
Yeah.
should remember people with trees instead of tombstones. Like you put a plaque in remembrance of, and you just,
Let the tree go around it. That
well,
makes sense.
yeah, you would drill it into the tree.
Yeah. Well, if you do
Um,
that, then the tree will kind of like grow around it over time. Like if you place it on it, you're actually pretty neat. If it's a like a large enough species of tree, like you see
yeah,
like pictures of people who like leave bikes or something up on trees, and then they like over time they just kind of like absorb it.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, I mean, if we have like 7 or 8 billion people in 100 years, are we really going to have an additional? I know that I don't know, maybe half of them get cremated, but are we really going to have like 3 billion more tombstones? Like, at what point, like that doesn't scale,
Yeah, I know.
especially when there's more people that are born every year, even though
Yeah.
the rate is declining.
There, I mean, there. Yeah, I've thought about this too because it's like a, it's just like a, I don't know. Maybe the saving grace is that so many people do get cremated, but it's like I've thought about that too. Eventually, you run out of land. I mean, there's a lot of land though, like a lot. I mean, but
There is,
yeah.
but I mean, look,
But if you go to like
I
Fort
still have a
Snelling
heart
or
for like
something, and like,
wildlife. Like, let that
yeah,
land chill with let that park or the federal land, like let animals chill. Like, stop moving them out further and further. Let them live in peace.
yeah. There's one company that what they do is they like I think they take your ashes and then make you into fertilizer, and then they plant a tree or something in you, and then they like that's the thing. Like you're
Yeah,
it's
but
like a living
do they drill a plaque onto it?
no, but you could drill a
Yeah. So
plaque onto it.
how do people how would like 2 generations from now say, oh, that tree represented the life of Scott Nimrod, 1981 to 2025 or something like
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
but 2, 3 generations from now, who's gonna care about any of us? I mean,
You don't
that's
think there's hobbyists that go to cemeteries and walk through them? Like for example, the what's the one in Minnesota? The
Snelling.
ones, no, the I don't think so. Arlington National
Oh,
Cemetery. Is that the name of it? The one where soldiers are buried.
yeah, I thought it was Fort Snelling,
I thought
in
it was
Minnesota.
Arlington.
Is it Arlington? Um, why am I thinking Fort Snelling?
Never heard of that.
What the heck is Fort Snelling? Oh, Fort Snelling is near it. I think maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's hobbyists that go
Yeah,
to
Arlington. Yeah.
Arlington and they just
Well, my grandpa's buried in Arlington, and my grandma. So, but it's
grandma was a soldier.
no, but I think it's like a husband wife type thing. If I'm, or no, Arlington is Virginia. No, my grandpa's that's in Virginia. Yeah,
What's what's in Minnesota?
it's
I saw it before. I mean, I drove past it.
Fort Snelling National Cemetery. Yeah,
Okay. Hey,
that's the
gambler.
you see all the like many white crosses and or like
Why you gotta be white?
well they're tombstones, but they'll either have the like cross or the Star of David or the I can't remember the one for Islam. I don't know. I wonder what they put on people who are like non-religious.
Satan worshippers.
Yeah, what do they put for Satan? An upside down cross or something? Oh, but yeah, that's
Probably put anarchy on there, the anarchy symbol or something.
yeah. You look at it, eventually they'll run out of space for sure, and then they'll just start another one. But yeah, I mean, unless you like had some sort of like impactful thing on history or whatever, it's like eventually like graves are good for like the first generation after you're gone, and then it's after that it's like I don't know, maybe they should have that. It's like okay,
I
this like
mean, it would
cemeteries are temporary. Put me in for like 2 years and then exhume me and then just throw me in and burn me up or something like that.
no
Like it's a rental
encourage
property.
encourage more trees.
Yeah,
Like,
well, and then it's like the like it's not only just the space that you run out of, but like eventually, like how do cemeteries don't really make money? They have to like continually have people dying and filling the space in order to pay for the cost of the upkeep, right? So there's no like
are are cemeteries private?
I don't some of them are. Actually, I think most of them are.
I would have thought that it would be like like a state park.
It's
No?
like buying real estate, but
Why
it's
do I feel like we've had this conversation before?
I don't think we've ever talked about it, but I think we're probably in agreement on the basic premise that cemeteries are the idea of a cemetery is kind of like just weird and unsustainable. Like I could see if you were like somebody who had like great impact on the world where somebody might want to like, oh, go to the tomb of blah blah blah. Oh, this is where this world leader was born or died or whatever. This is where Trump is buried. Da 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 da. Something, you know? But like, it's like no one's gonna care about me in whatever years. Just put me in a jar and then one day I'll get forgotten and put in a dump. That's fine. It's not really me, anyways. It's just
I
the
want a sequoia
remnants
tree.
of my body.
Drill a plaque with my birth date and my expiration date and a couple of achievements and drill it onto either a redwood or a sequoia. I'll be or no, f that. Drill me onto a palm tree. So I would prefer that.
Yeah. How long do palm trees live for? It's like I don't know. Versus sequoia, palm tree lifespan 40 to 50 years.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay,
actually
drill
that'd
me
be a
onto a sequoia.
that's what we should do is just let's start a cemetery where people
Start a startup.
where basically people pay to become like you buy a big plot of land like a forest that's empty right now and then people pay to be when they die to be put in as a tree
You know
and then
what?
you
You know what
a
happened
living
is
cemetery.
they'll mess around. Like I'm like, put a sequoia in my name, and and plant it or transfer it to the block of 185th and something in East Cleveland, and then they'll end up effing up and put me by some power lines, and then like they'll start mutilating my branches, and then yeah.
So the sequoias live to over 3,000 years potentially, so much longer than a palm tree.
How would they know?
It's the rings.
You said the rings.
The rings of the tree will tell you its age, right? Unless sequoias don't have
You're talking
rings.
about when you cut a tree in half and you look at the.
Yeah, they put on
Okay.
like a new layer of bark every year or whatever, so it's like
How do you know this?
because it's like taught in like Arbor Day type stuff or like in Minnesota there's a
In
lot of
public
like
schools, they teach this.
there's a lot of like natural history type stuff around Minnesota or like nature centers and stuff like that. So when you're in school, we'd always go on a field trip to like nature centers and they'd talk about like, oh, these trees are blah blah blah, and here's how we know because of these rings, and these rings grow every year and blah blah blah. But you might have seen it on like I don't know. For all I know, I saw it on like Sesame Street or something, or like some other educational programming.
I think I'm
But
about to. I think I'm about to add another motorcycle to my collection. Did I tell you this already?
you can have a fleet now, man. Well, didn't a motorcycle get come in and then you're like, yeah, I can't get pick up because I need to have a job for like more than a week or something like that.
Yeah, I held this job down for 3 weeks.
Huh?
I've held this job down for 3 weeks.
You failed it down?
I've held
Oh,
this
held it
job
down.
down.
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
I'm my ears are for escaping me. You held it down for 3 weeks.
yeah. So now I have enough money for a brand new motorcycle.
Cool. So are you gonna get that one that came in then?
You know what's interesting is the majority of people aren't like me, where they can like work for 3 weeks and like have money for a brand new motorcycle, like, or go unemployed for 7 months again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
What,
I
going
only
unemployed
lasted
for
what?
7 months?
I went from June to August. Just about 2 months. That's the longest streak I've had. Beat my 1 month
Of
streak,
being
and
unemployed.
yeah.
The longest I've been unemployed was 8 months, which makes me think that maybe adding a. I look at. I don't know. I've been. To me, motorcycles are trophies. It's like this is this is part of my self worth. It's kind of like women. Like, how many pretty women can I have, right? How many pretty motorcycles can I have? Let me add another one to the garage, right? So like, it's kind of like. Do you think material possessions are like analogous to trophies for men?
Well, trophies
Like
themselves
you
are
earned it,
material.
you earned
Material.
it, right? You acquired, in theory, you acquired a skill that other people valued so much, and they rewarded you in one medium, and then you transferred that medium into a motorcycle or a car or crack or whatever. So, well, crack's not a trophy.
Yeah, it's a consumable. Yeah, sure. Why not? I suppose it's a treat, if anything.
I mean, I could follow the stereotype and get a ridiculous, stupid gold or diamond chain. Well, maybe not diamond. You know
I'm.
how
s-
all the rappers do.
oh yeah. Start
I,
wearing it
I, I would never understand that lifestyle.
on your streams. Just have this like big gold necklace. Or you know what you really should do is buy one of those with
The
the
eight
handlebars like
bars,
this.
the six
Yeah.
bars.
I don't know how that can be comfortable. My hands would go dead after 5 minutes on one of those things.
Yeah, I don't think I could do a road trip on those.
But
I'm thinking about. I keep telling you, I've been considering. I say it every weekend. I'm starting to give up now, trying to catch a ferry to the Bahamas.
Bahamas, yeah. This has been what, a month? You said that you're gonna do that? Just go, man. You only got one life to live.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. You might have multiple lives to live, but you only remember this one once.
You know what would be nice is when we die, we really are in an internal sleep where we could still dream and just live in a dream state where we can still entertain ourselves and not
Yeah.
necessarily like nothing.
Yeah.
Like
If cognition wasn't part of some brain activity, but was more of like a deeper spiritual thing or whatever, and your spirit just lives on, just doesn't have a host to take it
I
on.
think that was the episode on Black Mirror. Did you watch the entire season?
No, no.
Yeah, I think that was one of the episodes.
But then again, you don't know. We might be dreaming right now, just at a like a layer up from where we are.
I feel pain.
That doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, no, it's the same thing.
When have
Like,
you ever felt pain in a dream state?
well, yeah, but you don't know that. The thing is we know that that dream state is dull, right? But we don't know to which level dullness is in our current thing. Obviously, there's some sort of feeling, but you couldn't imagine probably
The only feeling
going up.
you receive while you're unconscious dreaming, this might be ignorant. Okay, there may be additional exceptions, but the only feeling you're going to get is sexual feelings, like uh an erection, right? Like you can still, you two better not scream me for that, right? It's a scientific like
Yeah,
fact,
yeah, okay.
right? Like, so when you dream, That's the only sensation I'm aware of while you're unconscious. I bet you people in comas probably still get woodies.
Yeah, maybe. Pitch intense while they're sitting there. Oh, that's normal.
Well,
Like you
hold
come out of
on.
the coma, why'd you wake me up? Damn it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like that's
Yeah.
the idea is like if you when you
What's
don't
crazy
know
is do
to
they
what
get no
extent
go
like
back. What's crazy is do people in comas get wet dreams? Like, oh, you
uh,
gotta clean that up. I'm
probably
like, God damn it again.
they probably just put you in like a catheter or whatever in a bag or whatever that gets changed out. But
Oh,
that's
this
what
is
I'm
a
saying is like the we don't know to what level our existence right now is dull compared to like some higher, and that's this kind of like the inception type thing. Like you got dream states that everything seems cloudy and dull, but you know that things are happening, and then there's like a much more vivid reality that we're in right now, and we don't know that we could be in that vivid reality and then wake up and into a much brighter reality where it's
well, why would we think that we're that special that we have to continue some type of existence even after our original existence is over? Like, for example, 99.9% of us, well, let me take that back. A significant majority of us believe that there's an afterlife, but they are oblivious to consider a before life. What were you doing before 1984 or 1985? Right, I assume those were one of your years, or maybe you're 1986 or something.
84.
And the answer is I didn't exist, right? So if people want to believe that it's totally conceivable to you you die and then you come back somewhere else, even and they also don't consider another galaxy as come back as an alien somewhere a billion light years away, right? They don't consider that either. But they don't acknowledge that, well, what were you before you took a human form?
Yeah, sure they do. That's I mean, that's like the whole
No, they don't.
that's the whole point of well, people I'm not saying everyone does. I'm saying that's the whole idea behind like philosophy is inquiries. It's like philosophy is the art of asking questions, right? And so it's
Most people aren't
and
philosophical.
yeah, well, that's one thing. Like I said, that I kind of learned is that it's and that's the fun thing about it is you can imagine all of the possibilities and walk through them and conjecture about them and maybe at some point you come to some sort of realization where you believe like this most likely explains everything. But you're still it's a question that has no you can't prove it, you can't because like we're constrained by the physical world in terms of what we can observe and whatever to know in this space what are the rules. We
Yeah,
don't
well,
know what exists at a higher plane. Obviously in our dreams, like in our dreams we feel like we exist, right? Or there's like some level of existence, but there's different constraints around us
well,
and it's very cloudy and it's murky and whatever.
psychedelics
Yeah. Oh yeah.
is also a tool. Like I've seen some stuff that
Yeah.
made me reconsider.
Yeah,
Uh,
and people say, "Oh, that's just the drugs playing with your mind," but that it actually has it doesn't matter whatsoever if that's the case because we don't you can't say that just because you understand something why something happened that it's not real or not whatever.
I
That's
got
a genetic
PTSD from
fallacy.
it, so it felt real.
Yeah.
Um, so glad I recovered. Uh, yeah, so we went from F tombstones, nail plaques to trees in remembrance of people, but don't do a palm tree. That only has a lifespan of 40 to 50 years. Um, to people having wet dreams in their coma and staff having to clean it up.
Oh,
To
let's head back to something techie then. Do you have let me ask you, do you ever have problems with like yak no, somebody's actually here
and
talking about
afterlife notions,
yeah.
comfort to those who fear death. Oh, yeah, I'm included. It's just I'm too logical to like commit to it, Corey.
Yeah. But like So from like a tech standpoint, though, you ever get into bouts of like yak shaving, where you just like I feel like I have this happen with a lot of tickets that I work on or issues that I work on, where I'll get into a new code base and it's like I'll start down a path and it's like, oh well, this is wrong, and wait, this is also wrong, or wait, this could be done better, but this shouldn't be like this, and then it's just like a continual like chain of like just finding shit over and over again, and then wanting to fix it all, but you're like, oh crap, I'm losing sight of the initial ask here.
Yes, but I think because I'm older now and I've had more experiences that I care less about demonstrating how smart I am.
Yeah, I don't know if it's about demonstrating intelligence. It's more like
You don't think it's attached to ego?
no, I think that there's an idea that you want to like people want to take pride in what they work on and produce a good thing. And so when you're in a something and you find issues or bugs, you just like or like stuff that could work better and not work better in a way in means like oh I could just make this a little bit better, but like just really like small things that could improve the quality extremely a
That's the
lot.
way that's the way it
Like
should be. I think the conflict or the challenge is the mainstream practice that I believe discourages that. Hence, um, feature branching, where you're when you send a pull request, like your task was supposed to be focused on addressing this bug or adding this feature, and nothing about tech debt, right? That in theory, that's supposed to be, you could correct me, Sean, but in theory, that's supposed to be a separate dedicated branch, which is completely different from trunk-based development, where it's like, I'm going to write code that doesn't work but compiles. I'm going to have a feature toggle back that code that isn't a working feature, but it compiles, and we're going to go live with it, but it's just going to be dormant until we flip a switch. And with that type of practice, you can see opportunities to clean up and continually improve the code base while you're extending the functionality of that system. But
yeah,
I think feature branching discourages that practice of continuous improvement. Like I feel like it kind of constrains personnel to to perform the overhead of formally acknowledging a tech debt item, which should take way longer than just doing it.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the case. I think what I was more asking about was um like the habit of like getting stuck in the idea that you turn a mountain like a molehill into a mountain, right? Um, like you go into something thinking, oh, this is a small thing, and then you dig and 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 dig, and suddenly it's like to fix this in earnest, I'd have to refactor the entire thing.
I'm going through that right now.
Like to yeah, because I had this day that like on I was a Wednesday where I pick up this really simple thing like oh there should display an error message when or like we should error out rather than showing and we should give the
Why am I
user
getting so many observers? What's
I don't
what's
know did
what's
someone
interesting is I say so many is four.
yeah
I'm just used to a gambler being the only person.
yeah but like so if you put like oh gosh anyways display instead of playing like an empty state you display like an actual error because an empty state's different from an error state, right? um and I just got into like oh okay well I got to do this well this comes from here well this is used here 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 and here and here actually it's used across the entire thing okay so should I make it so that this and it's like oh my gosh I'm just like digging and digging and it's like it becomes like this huge if I wanted to do things well I'd have to like make it so that every page handles things in a certain way. It was
I,
just like a I took this thing that I thought would be like an hour long deal, and it turned into an entire day, and I feel like shit about it. And I'm still not
Yeah,
done with it because I was like, now this is like a correctness versus availability question because technically some of these things could work, but they like, and so like, because we're not handling the errors right now, it might be masking like, or like saving a lot of people from a lot of like, imagine like Twitter when it had the fail whale problem all the time. It's like saving people from that. But technically, the data could be wrong too. It could be displaying different bad information. So, but like, how do we? I don't know. So I'm thinking maybe I've got to go back in and say, well, if I display this error page, maybe I've got to put in some stuff into to retry or like, um, not just fail on the first attempt, anyways.
yeah.
So
Something else that I think gave me experience on the topic is when you're working on your own product, it kind of enforces opportunity cost, right? It, speaking for myself, I'm like, look, this works. It's not pretty because I was learning this technology at the same time that I was writing this feature in this technology, and I've learned how to do this better. Is it? But because my objective is to test this in the marketplace, I got to get this to market. Is is beautifying the code more important than getting this to market 2 weeks later? And the answer is if it's if it's a startup or an attempted startup, I care about measuring more than I care about elegance.
yeah,
And that's something that I think I would have a hard time realizing on someone else's payroll, on someone else's project.
yeah. Speaking of that, are you done with Beach Mobile, or did you?
I was thinking about that before I sent you the link to this string. I'm not done. So I shelved it because I wanted to focus on doing everything I can to be competent for my latest contract position,
Mhm.
since things were looking very, very stressful for me, and I needed to I needed to hold down this job. Um, I'm starting to feel more comfortable now, so maybe in another week or two, I'll resume Beach Mobile. I uh I fired my co-founder again. I think I told you that.
How many times is this now? Jeez.
It's like 3 or 4.
Yeah. You're fired. You just
I ignore him now when he sends me messages or tries to call me,
yeah.
uh, which sucks because like I think he's a cool person, like a human being, like, but I can't keep repeating myself over and over and over again, and it doesn't get done.
Yeah, well, I wonder why he's so invested. I assume it's a he. What, like, is so invested
Use his
in it?
pronouns.
Yeah, he, him.
Still
What,
hate that when
like,
I see it on LinkedIn. I'm like, it's so stupid.
but yeah. Anyways, like, what's like their or his like. Oh, you got me all like. What's their or his
Disconnect.
uh yeah, his connect to it? Like, why is he so passionate about it? Like, is there something he's missing in his business that he's thinking like this is it? This is gonna make it like
The conflict was this. All right. Um, he he's a hustler, right? Hence, he's from Brooklyn, and so he. I assume that he comes from a lifestyle of just trying to get his money for the day. Um, and so, like, I met him on my side of town, and I saw him selling. And I think you already know the story. I'm like, yo, why are you selling that? You should rent it out. And so he changed his business model, and he's making more money. Uh, I think he cares more about collecting cash and not paying taxes on it and being able
Mhm.
to quickly. I guess it's less stress when the majority of your transactions are cash and you don't have to worry about managing government institutions, right? Like I
Yeah.
think that's the issue is he doesn't want to pay taxes on the money that he's making, and that's a conflict with me because strategically I'm trying to scale. I am trying to get partners, the Better Business Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce, um, and other parties that that are extremely mature that would be in my best interest to get their validation and to be able to work with them, so that so that Beach Mobile can have legitimacy and it could be a trusted partner. In order to establish a partnership with mature organizations, such as the examples that I listed, oh yeah, and also funding investors, right? Your Y Combinator or your angel investors, right? Strategically, that's what's required, or that's what I believe is required in order to scale, to go from 500 or $1,000 a day to 30,000 to $50,000 a day. If now you're attacking the majority of beaches in the state of Florida versus one block um, in South Beach, right? So I've told him this over a year ago before him and I like partnered, quote unquote. I told him, yo, when I'm gonna start getting some graphic design stuff done for the different products, and while I'm doing that, and while I'm creating all these accounts on Facebook Business and all this other more administrative stuff that's outside of software development, what I need you to do is I need you to maintain electronic records of your transactions. And so that we can use that as evidence so that we can try to attract partners. I told him that over a year ago before we even started working together when I was pitching a partnership to him. He never did it.
Mhm. Yeah, I
And
understand. I've
okay,
heard this. I've heard this part. I've just wondered, like, why is he so like keep coming back after you fired him?
I,
Like,
why
what do
why
you?
why does he
Yeah,
continue want to work with me?
yeah. That's why I'm trying to
Well,
understand.
one is I'm intellectually superior to him, and that sounds arrogant, but like
He doesn't have a
I
system
I
mindset,
I,
though. Yeah.
I have the ability and I have relationships with people that encourage me to think, that encourage me to be resourceful. So, for example, I get the example of he was selling. I was like rent, but then the mastermind sessions that I have with you, where we're trying to brainstorm, like, yo, how do I get this thing to work? And it went from hot food isn't going to cut it to let's do beach equipment, and that started working out, right? We actually got customers, right? And then went from, dude, I need like a warehouse, I need a storage facility, or we can just park on the closest block in a municipal parking lot and just keep our inventory there and keep it mobile, right? We'll just put the inventory in a vehicle
Hmm.
and not too far, and we can just take a scooter or take a bicycle and make runs to our mobile inventory that's in a lot 2 blocks away, right? So like stuff like that, he he's not able to think like resourcefully about how can I get the objective done, even if it's unorthodox and it's not a mainstream way of doing things. He
Hmm.
he doesn't he didn't know what a startup was, right? And because I've been immersed in understanding startups, it has gotten me to think differently about how to get things done, even if it's not the way I was originally trained.
Yep.
And he doesn't have that because he doesn't seek content or information to help him think in that manner. That's why I think.
So I wonder, like, I wonder if like maybe there's an opportunity. So instead of like partnering, could you make him a customer in some way?
Yeah, you said that like 6 months
Yeah.
ago.
I still think it's not a bad idea if you could be the backing logistics side of it, the supplier, the whatever, rather than being the front person. Like,
Yeah, here's the other part that pissed me off. I'm going to answer your question.
yeah.
The other part that pissed me off was he sent me some some flyers that he was preparing to get printed out, right? He sent me some graphic design items. And so I critiqued it, started like marking it up in red. And he had the flyers printed anyway, right? And and some of the issues that I had was instead of the Beach Mobile number on the flyer, he had the Beach Mobile number and his personal cell phone number. And I'm like, no, like we're not two businesses. For we're confusing customers. There should be just one number, right? And that's it, right? And he was using my graphic design assets, like the money that I paid on Fiverr
Hmm.
to get like the images or the artwork done. He was using it for himself. He put his personal cell phone number on there, and then he was collecting money, and he still refused to deposit that money into the dedicated business account. It's like,
Yeah, like I said, man, make it franchise. Don't be the logistics body, be the backing thing. Record all your transactions as a secondary thing. Make him pay you rather than the customers pay you. Then your problems are solved. And then he's a franchise partner, not a co-founder. It works, right?
it sounds good on paper, yeah.
Yeah. Although it's just like, what does that relationship look like then? What do you add the systems around it,
Well, hold on. Let's
yeah.
back up. So, to be fair, his his concern was when if he were to deposit uh, the revenue from renting out equipment into the bank account that I set up, he's scared that I'm going to basically run away with the money.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay. um, so I think a day's worth of work, like 500, maybe $800, that's not going to make you homeless if I did do that, right? It's not like you're depositing an entire month's worth of it. Like it's $500 and you realize that I'm a sketchy or I'm a scammer. All right, but I mean, remember, like I done spent probably like $20,000 trying to stand up this business, and I see that what you're doing is you're actually getting customers, right? Would it be in my best interest to steal $500 from you? The answer is no, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying like the record it electronically, and I'll just kick it back to you. But I need to get it documented that we're legitimately getting customers and we're collecting revenue. Now,
Yeah.
the other the caveat to that is when I kick this money back to you, I'm not going to be the one that is going to be responsible for reaching into my own pockets and paying taxes on it. So the money I kick back to you needs to reflect the taxes that we need to deduct or that we need to pay to the state or to the IRS, really to the IRS. And he wasn't cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all of it. Yeah. Like I said, I think the only option there is if you keep sounding is just make him your customer and your key customer and the one that you build the thing off of, and then find another him in another area and start building it for them, and then find another them in another area and another one, and then
Or you could be my co-founder, Sean.
no, I was thinking about stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know. I it's like maybe the best thing would be to do is to focus on individual products and try to like just hit one that's like gonna like take off. Like if you build a game, let's say, there's a small chance that you could have like a super big hit and like just like poof, make a bunch of money off of it. Or
Angry
like
Birds.
yeah, something that's like an
I don't think that was a
individual.
small game though, was it?
Yeah, it was relatively small, or like Wordle, it
Well,
was
they blew up. Didn't they have
smaller.
like a cartoon after that or something like that?
Yeah,
And they had
yeah, whole
T-shirts. Like
movie,
they
and
franchised
they
it.
merged it. Minecraft was the same thing. It's like they became big, and then they or they like merchandised it, and it's huge. Five Nights at Freddy's another one, or like Bendy and the Machine. Those ones, toys and everything for it, and T-shirts. And if you build a cool IP, you can go places.
Uh, no, so look,
Like a book or
be
like
my
any of that.
co-founder instead of Beach Mobile. We're going to go to nursing homes and we're going to go to like ghettos, okay? And we're going to pass out brochures about um, trees are the new tombstones,
There you go.
and we're going to sell it. Yeah,
We'll buy
that
a
makes
giant plot of land up in Minnesota that was where all the trees were mowed down for farmland, and we'll just literally start a tree cemetery. It's a green.
no, we already have the trees. Oh yeah, I said we'll plant a tree. Well, for the
Yeah,
startup, we'll just go to the state park and we'll just start drilling plaques into the existing trees that are already there. And
yeah,
then when we run out of trees, then we'll start like buying what do you call a baby tree?
sapling.
Cub tree, or it's called a sapling.
I
Oh, I
think it's
almost
called
said
a
a cub.
sapling. Is that what it's called? Or is sapling like a branch from a tree? Sapling.
Why does sapling
A
sound like
young tree, especially
maple?
one of slender trunk.
Okay. Yeah, we'll buy some saplings and we'll drill holes into it with plaques.
Hmm. But I don't know. Like I said, I think you could actually do like a tree cemetery, and the only thing is like once
What
it's
else lives
like
for a long time? We'll drill plaques into whales. Like, how long does the blue whale live?
the hundreds of years, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll drill a whole bunch of them, like onto one.
Blue whale lifespan 80 to 90 years. Turtles, man, they live pretty long too. Or tortoises,
You,
100 years, right?
you know, all right. So this is geeking out now. You know what is one of the core elements to uh creatures that live very long? I'm going to test your biology
They're
know-how.
small. It
Close, but that's not the answer. I mean, a ant is small. A fly is small.
no, small within their like species, or within their like
I'll
yeah,
give you another guess.
what?
Are you ready? A metabolism dictates or is one of the core influencers of the lifespan of a creature. The slower the metabolism, in in general, the longer the lifespan.
Okay, but I suppose for like if you take that as like interspecies, but if you look at like dogs, small dogs, you'd think that they'd be pretty high in
H-
terms of their
How often do you have to feed a small dog?
yeah. Not, I mean, I don't know. How often do you? A
Now,
lot? I mean,
to disprove me, you would say, okay, well, is that applicable to only mammals, or are we talking about all animals? Because what's the lifespan of a alligator or what's another one, or a snake? All right, so if I say a python lifespan, because they only need to eat like once per week, right? And so this debunks my metabolism because lifespan of a python is 20 years, and if I do If I do, what about a crocodile? 70
So
years for a crocodile. Well, saltwater, 70 years. A
yeah,
Nile
but
is 50,
I mean,
60.
on average, like, or I think I don't even remember where I saw this. It might have been a Huberman thing, but like the size of the creature within its own class of creatures, or like whatever does a lot. So like very large dogs versus very small dogs, the lifespans are totally different. You get 5 to 6 years out of a very large dog. You get, upwards of 15 to
A very large dog only lives 6 years.
yeah. Look at the lifespan of like
So a bull mastiff only lives 6 years.
I don't know what the bull
I
mastiff's
mean, it's a
lifespan
large.
is.
It's probably the largest dog you can get.
No, those are 8 to 10. Um, but those Dobermans, not Dobermans. God, what are those really big ones? But if you
Well,
look at gosh, what dog breed? Great Danes
I want
or like
what's it
Bernese
called? An
Mountain Dogs.
Argentinian. What's that Argentinian dog called? It's like white with black spots. That's pretty large. I forgot what it's called.
So Great Danes are 8 to 10 years. I think it's the Bernese Mountain Dog I'm thinking of. That's really short. Or no, Newfoundland. Well, it says 8 to 10 on all of these, but it's like
It's
it's short.
Argentino. I want an Argentino Dogo.
Yeah, it's short compared to small dogs, which like you're adding an extra like 8 years onto a very small dog compared to a very large dog.
I'm trying to think of a mammal that has a very low metabolism, and the only thing I can think of is a whale.
How about a sloth? I don't know how often do sloths eat.
Ooh.
They don't move fast, but
Are sloths apes? What are they? They're not apes.
I don't know what are they technically like. Sloth
It's a
is it a
bear.
bear? No, sloth bears. Sloth
Oh no,
animal
sloth bear and sloth are
trait.
two different things. Yeah, it looks like it. Those things are weird looking.
So they're in the what kingdom? No, not phylum, class, superorder, order of Pelosa. Pelosa are the superorder, so they're like in the
They're
same
related
league
to
as anteater.
armadillos and
Yeah,
anteaters. Those things look weird. They look like they should be on Muppet Babies.
yeah. They're not rodents or anything like that. That's kind of interesting. Um, it's a fascinating creature, the capybara. Those things are.
In captivity, they live up to 40 years, between
Uh,
30 to 40 years.
they look like people. It's like they look they
They
have
look
those little
weird.
faces.
They
Like,
look like. I
hey,
bet you Chewbacca was inspired by that.
I don't know. Sloths are cool animals. So anyhow, you have big plans for the Labor Day weekend? You gonna go to the Bahamas then?
Is that next weekend or this weekend?
This weekend.
It's
Labor
this
Day's
weekend?
Monday, so you shouldn't work on Monday.
I've been trying to get to the Bahamas and I've been trying to get to Cancun. I need to do a dry run, more than likely Cancun. So then I could then do dry run two two in one of the Asia Pacific countries, and that would be for like a month or 6 weeks, and then I will finally make the transition if I'm able to pull off working and living out there.
Hmm.
That's not what you asked though. No, I don't have any plans for Labor Day weekend. Probably gonna go to a dealership and sit on a bike and then try to argue why it's I could still be fiscally responsible for getting a new bike and adding it to my collection.
Let's go trade in
But I would be so
your
upset if I
Can-Am.
got like laid off like the following like Monday after buying it. Like
Let's go trade in your Can-Am.
I want to sell it, but it has so many miles on it.
Like I said, worst thing that you
It's
do
in the
if you
shop
go
right
there,
now.
yeah, just go to when you go to the to look at the bike, just bring it with and ask them what they'd take it on trade for. They could the worst thing that you could do is say, well, we'll give you nothing for it, and you're like, okay. But if they give you something, you're like, oh, that's actually I'd
That
take
bike
that.
has that bike has 55,000 miles on it, and by the time I get it out the shop, it's probably going to cost me. I'm guessing it's probably going to cost me about 1,500 to get it out the shop. I gotta get tires on it, a battery, um, something else is wrong with it. It has electrical issues that's covered under warranty. I gotta get an oil change. Yeah, they're gonna bend me over. Grab a full jar of Vaseline, and they're gonna stick it to me.
So graphic, man. Jeez. That's how we know it's like at the Oscars, when they like play the music for when the people got to get off stage.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, "Nah, nah, nah," whatever. That's when you start talking about this kind of stuff.
I
That's like
haven't
the
I,
swans
I haven't watched. One is I haven't watched TV.
since
I
Black
haven't
Mirror.
I
No.
haven't I haven't watched TV like television programming. It's probably been like between 6 and 8 years. Like, do you watch
Outside of
like?
like Netflix or whatever, or like you're
Yeah,
talking like
I'm talking about
cable
like you,
or broadcast.
YouTube has replaced TV for me. I probably consume easy 4 hours of YouTube a day. Easy.
Yeah,
If
when
I'm
you
not
say
watching it,
cable,
I'm listening
you
to
mean
it.
cable when you mean TV,
Cable,
right? Yeah. We don't have cable. We haven't had it for a few years now.
cable or local television. I haven't watched local television or cable in probably 6 to 8 years.
Yeah.
It's probably been longer than that.
We have I mean, the closest thing is we have is like Philo. I think we have it right now because we were watching the show called Alone when it came out. And it's like a cable replacement type thing. Like you still have ads and whatever, and you can get certain programming or whatnot, but I don't know. And then when we go camping, like my brother-in-laws, they have antenna on theirs, or they've like bought the like converter box or whatever, so they can find stations when we're out camping. They'll just put their antenna up and
Uh,
grab broadcast. So occasionally they'll play something there, but
it's weird because I'll go to like I was at Red Lobster and I sit at the bar at Red Lobster to eat, and they had like a sitcom playing, and it's like when I was a kid, I used to gobble sitcoms. Now I look at it and it's like this is make believe life with people laughing, and it's just so I'm so disconnected from it now.
yeah,
Like
there's actually a really good show called Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
that's
Excuse the
vulgar.
French. Yeah, but it's actually really cool how they did it. So the show is a drama, but what they do is they split it between like dramatic, capture like what you'd see in a modern drama, and then a sitcom. So they play like this woman's interactions in a sitcom with her husband Kevin, who's just a total like douchebag. He's just awful. And then as soon as she leaves scene, they cut to the more dramatic one where she's dealing with how and the whole premise of it is like she's trying to kill him because she feels stuck or whatever. And so that's the whole thing about it. And then there's all these other stuff that happens in the drama, but they switch between that sitcom style and a drama style, and they use that as the device to kind of like to kind of connect. I don't know. It's really cool.
How come there's no word for women that hate men? Misogyny, there's a word for that. But what do you call all the programming that makes men on television or on video look like they're incompetent or look like they're savages and they beat women and this is the entertainment? Like is there not a misogyny word for women that consistently hate on men?
I don't know.
Of
Um,
course not. There is no word. It pisses me off, man. Double standards.
Yeah. Anyways, regardless, it's a pretty cool. If you ever get that
I'm
show, just
boycotting that
pitch like an
show.
episode.
No.
It's cool from like they did something different with the medium kind of deal. Like they took that sitcom and made it like they made it a feature of the show. It's like it's how they present this guy Kevin to you. It's really interesting. So
What's it called? You said, well, how do you use a curse word in the title of
well,
a?
they it's like Kevin can F star 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 himself star 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 himself. So it's
Okay.
yeah, it's a comedy series, but it's a drama actually too. So it's I don't know. It's yeah, it's really weird. The guy who plays Kevin McRoberts or whatever is just he's like just a total like he's like an overly uh just odd. I don't know how to even describe it. It's a good show, anyways. At least the first season is.
It's worth getting cable.
No, this was on. We watched it on AMC Plus, but reminded me of the sitcom thing that
Mm.
you brought up because it's like I said, they use the sitcom thing to show you like to kind of like contrast it, which is just I thought it was really novel. So
All right. Well, if it's Labor Day weekend, that means that I definitely can't go out of town because it's gonna be hella expensive. Uh,
just go somewhere where nobody wants to go, like I don't know,
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Go to Cedar Point. Come to Minnesota. Go to Valley
I
Fair.
want to go to Cedar Point. I actually called a couple of my friends back home. It's like, yo, let's organize like a dude's day out. Don't bring your girlfriend. We're gonna find girlfriends when we get there. But nah, I think we're all too old, man. They can't just go to an amusement park without their families.
Yeah.
So selfish.
Bye, honey. I'm going to. Yeah.
To the point with Scott.
Yeah. We're gonna get some honeys and ride the roller coaster. So
I do want to go. All right.
yeah.
Well, it's been real. I
Yep.
guess we'll catch up next Friday.
Yep. Talk to you
See
then.
ya.
Bye.